Welcome to the Behind the Book online sportsbook show, live from the Mirage Sportsbook. I'm Gil Alexander, host of the Beating the Book podcast, with the real star of the show, the VP at MGM Resorts, Race and Sportsbook, the man who has the coolest job in America, Jay Rude. Hello, Jay.
How you doing, Gil?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. It should be fun. It's going to be a fun season, I think.
We're preventing you from doing everything else you have to do. Have you ever done anything like this before?
No, not exactly. This will be a first time. So not a lot of firsts left in this business for me, so this is one of them.
Well, we appreciate it. This is really great for everybody on the Mirage Facebook page and here live in the Sportsbook to get insights from behind the book. We're going to go through 3 college football games, 3 pro football games each and every week, get Jay's insights, and then maybe even have Jay field some questions afterwards. But first, let's get to the college football games. Ready to do this?
Absolutely.
All right, first game we're going to talk about on Saturday, and correct me if I'm wrong here, a lot with college football this week in week 2 really has to do with our perception of what those teams showed us in week 1. Was it just an aberration, or was it something that really does show us what the identity of these teams are moving forward? One of those teams is Florida. Kentucky is at Florida this weekend. Florida's a 16-point favorite, but Florida played one of the worst defenses in college football last week in the UMass Minutemen. Only managed 24 points, only 107 yards on the ground. Florida giving 16 here. What are the bettors thinking? Was the real Florida last week or something else?
Yeah, I mean, everyone has to keep in mind that, college, they don't have the preseason like the NFL does. Even though everyone discounts the preseason on the NFL, you can't really, when you're talking about 16, 17, 18, 19-year-old kids, they need a game under their belt. So I think, Florida does have the capability and will be, stepping forward off of this with Del Rio as quarterback. He's going to mature. He's got resources available to him that the average quarterback in college doesn't have. He's got his old man. And his old man has a lot of resources and can break down a lot of film and help him from there too. So I think realistically, you're going to see Florida back pretty hard this week. We're going to probably need Kentucky to cover this number from a book perspective. So I think most people are going to be on Florida thinking that they're going to rebound a little bit. Obviously, Florida last year won a lot of games relying on defense, just like Denver Broncos did, and hoping that their offense did just enough to win the game for them.
Interesting that you need Florida at this point. No, you need Kentucky.
We need Kentucky, and we'll need Kentucky as we go forward, because it looks like it's going to be 70% of the tickets and 70% of the parlay money right now is coming in on Florida, which is an early indicator of what's going to happen come game time.
I wonder if the same story holds true for this one. Tennessee, sort of in the same position as Florida. Tennessee, lucky to get by Appalachian State last week. 20-13 win. They trailed 13-3 at halftime. Had to survive with a missed field goal by App State, recovered their own fumble in overtime. It's funny because Butch Davis, their coach, said after the game, well, good teams, that's what we do. Like, there's some good, qualities to recovering your own fumble and having the other team miss a field goal.
Right.
But again, Tennessee, 10-point favorites here. Are bettors looking at the Tennessee they saw last week, or the one that was a preseason darling, highest preseason ranking since 2006? What are they thinking?
Yeah, I think you're going to, again, one more game under their belt. And I think, the perception that the team that we saw in week 1 is going to improve off of that performance, basically because they weren't playing their own players, leading up to that. They played another team, even though that team was maybe subpar to what the SEC competition is going to be for them going forward. And it's also, they gave up 13 points, and Virginia Tech gave up 13 points, but completely different way they gave up 13 points. Virginia Tech's defense is going to be much stouter test for them in this particular matchup. But also Tennessee has a little bit of a quirky thing going on for them this week, as if 100,000 fans isn't a good enough home field advantage in their stadium normally. Right. They're playing this game at Bristol Motor Speedway, which now can hold 150,000 fans, which only adds to possibly their home field advantage because it's right there in their own backyard.
150,000 fans, and fun fact, 545,000 beers ordered. That's true for this game. Almost 4 beers per man, woman, and child.
That's easy. I would go over that in a heartbeat.
Outstanding. All right, third game and final game in college football. I want to ask you this, and I want you to be honest. Arizona State hosting Texas Tech. Northern Arizona passed at will against Arizona State last week.
Yes.
So you have the total here set at, we're looking up on the board right now, 79.5. It's
highest
about
total
high,
on the board.
Yeah, and it's about as high as you'll make it, right? So is there some reticence to bookmakers making it any higher than that? And therefore, is that sort of artificially muted, and do bettors have an opportunity on the over there?
I think the bettors if they like the over, they better bet it early because we will be pushed to go higher.
Yes.
It's hard to make a total much higher than that early in the week when the public isn't here yet, and the wise guys, all they'll do is take you under that, which can be a useful tool because if you think you are going to go to 84, say, if you hang it just a tad higher, you're going to get some good early money that once you blow through that number, you have a chance for actually a reverse middle. I can middle the wise guys and the public if I get the move right. So there is an opportunity there with these high totals. And Texas Tech, I mean, we saw some totals in the 88 range. 87 was pretty common last year with Texas Tech. So this is definitely an over-better's dream.
It's also interesting that the spread itself is 3 now. It was moved from 4. 3 in a game with the total that high. Isn't that sort of the bookmaker? I mean, ultimately it was going to get pushed to 3, I think, because with a game with that kind of volatility, both on offense and defense, isn't it the bookmaker's way at this point of just saying we have no idea what's going to happen, and the bettors have sort of made it that way?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I think the betting public so far, which has been mostly the wise money to this point, wise guy money coming in, they took 3.5 with us. We're down to 3, and I think they're backing a quick-fire offensive Red Raiders team with a team that they're going up against in ASU that is strictly a rushing team. And the Red Raiders gave up very little rushing yards last game, which their opponent, granted, was a little bit weak, but against Nicholls State, they're not going to have to face that stiff of a challenge in this one. So I think Red Raiders with the quick fire offense and the fact that the defense is going to be there on the field to stop anything that ASU probably can throw at them is the reason that game is falling the way it is.
Do you have any liability there on the sides or not?
We do.
You do.
Yes, everyone's all over on Texas Tech right now.
All on Texas Tech. Okay. I think 79.5 is too low. That may be square, but I think it's too low this one. We'll see.
It appears 638 yards, I believe, the Red Raiders put up last week, just passing.
That's the late game in college football. Pro football, week 1. Of course, we had a game on Thursday night, but week 1 begins in earnest on Sunday. Detroit at Indianapolis is a game of note. Saw the line already move on this. Detroit was a 4-point underdog early in the week, went to 3.5. Think you got it at 3 now. Is this a game that you've seen a lot of sharp money on, or can you identify that money?
Yeah, this is a game where the early money right now is all sharp money. We opened this game 4, went to 3.5, down to 3. This is a game that's going to go back up. Tomorrow, when we start seeing the public come in and start betting this game, and right before kickoff, Indianapolis is going to get back. Indianapolis, with luck, is a team that the public loves to back. Even though I think Indianapolis hasn't addressed any of the concerns that they needed to address in the offseason, they still have a pretty poor offensive line. Luck got hurt for a reason, and the reason was they couldn't protect them well enough. So the public is going to back them because it's the Indianapolis Colts with luck. They think it's going to be a different team on the field that looked similar to something 2 years ago, but I think it's fool's gold. But it's odd that they're backing the Lions in this game, the Sharps, because they have bet the Lions under in season win totals. So it's sort of contradictory, but they like the spot here.
I think part of that might be the fact that Vontae Davis in the Colts secondary is banged up, may not play. His counterpart, Patrick Robinson, has a hamstring injury. So it does set up nicely for Matthew Stafford, even without Megatron. Interesting, though, again, and this is so unique to a bookmaker saying this, we think of public teams like the Cubs and the Red Sox in baseball, the Yankees, and we certainly have others in other sports. But the fact that you're so sure that the money will come in on the Colts on Sunday is pretty interesting, I think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and that's 3/4 of my job is to sort of anticipate and handicap the way the money is going to come into your establishment. If you're a single standalone book, you really need to know that.
Yes, you do.
I have the fortune to have 10 properties under my belt, so I get a little bit better spread than a standalone does. But I do have properties, the Mirage here is an East Coast property. We get a lot of East Coast teams, a lot of Giants money, a lot of Eagles money. The Mandalay Bay and the MGM, they get a lot of West Coast money. I imagine we're going to see a lot of Rams money this weekend. They get a lot of Arizona money. So it's you got to know who you deal the faces in this business.
Let's talk about that Arizona game. You bring them up. Arizona Sunday night, 6-point favorite, 6.5 somewhere in there. I'm not sure we have it up right now. We can check the board.
It's 6 points.
6 right there for the Cardinals. Obviously, no Tom Brady in this game. He's serving his Deflategate suspension. It's Jimmy Garoppolo in his first start.
Jimmy G.
Jimmy G. Bruce Arians loves to blitz. He blitzes 46% of the time. That's what the Cardinals did last year. So we know that the Cardinals are going to bring the house, and they have Chandler Jones and Robert Nkemdiche now to boost their defense. but Belichick knows that too. He's had a whole offseason to prepare for that. 6 seems knee-jerk against Garoppolo to be, well, maybe I'll lay it. But against Belichick, what are bettors doing right now?
Well, there's a rule that a lot of people go by, and it's ABB, and it's always bet Belichick.
Yep.
So I think a lot of places are going to be needing Arizona Cardinals, because I think the mystique of the Patriots, even though they've got a different quarterback, just like you said, Belichick finds a way to win even in the most adverse situations. And I think that's going to be a case here with you giving nearly a touchdown to Belichick. That looks like something that's going to be hard for a lot of people to pass up. But Arizona is loaded. Arizona is a team that I think has all the tools, as long as they stay away from injury, to go deep in the season, deep into the playoffs. It's going to be a very entertaining affair. It's going to be about protection. Who can protect their quarterback the best? I don't think you're going to need a team that's going to need to score 30 points to win this game. If you score 3 touchdowns in this game, you should come out victorious, as long as you can protect your quarterback.
So right about Carson Palmer. Got to keep him healthy all year. Also, Tyrann Mathieu, obviously coming off the injury. If they can keep both of those guys healthy, should be a big season for the Cardinals. The final NFL game we want to talk about is one of the 2 Monday night games. Week 1 in the NFL has 2 Monday night games. This is the first of those 2. The Steelers traveling to Washington to face the Redskins. Steelers are 3-point favorites. I'm smiling because I'm from DC. I'm a Redskins fan. And as a defeatist Redskins fan, I can tell you that they overachieved hugely last year for all kinds of reasons. Fumble luck, the fact that they played an easy schedule, the fact that opponents dropped passes at a higher rate than against any other team. So it set up very nicely for the Redskins. Kirk Cousins was great, but the Redskins didn't beat a single team that was 500 or better. Now they're actually playing a good team in the Steelers. Home dog. What are bettors thinking about this? This has kind of stayed at 3 the whole time, hasn't it?
It has stayed at 3. We've moved the VIG to 3 minus 20, or maybe 25 right now. But this game has got 3.5 written all over, if not more. This is a game that we haven't seen any sharp money come in at 3. I would be almost doubtful if we'll see sharp money at 3.5. This is a game where the sharps are going to let the bookmaker panic, because this is going to be a game that's going to roll up on us. We're going to have a ton of liability to the Pittsburgh Steelers come Monday night, and they might be able to get a 4 out of us at home with Washington. Some places, I'm not willing to open up that much. After we've already got enough money in the pipe on Sunday night, we're going to be on the hook for whatever happens Monday. But this has got a game that looks like the wise guys are going to hold out for the best number, because they know the public is going to push us hard on the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Interesting. Won't get that kind of insight anywhere else than from a VP of Race and Sportsbook, and that is very interesting. Of all the weekend games, college and pro, and I'm assuming it's going to be pro because the handle is bigger, which is the game that if your bosses came to you, Jay, and they said, Jay, what do we need this weekend? What's the team we need? What's the game?
Yeah, it might be that game. It might be we're going to need to knock down the Pittsburgh Steeler money Monday night in order to really salvage a good weekend, because we could potentially give up anything and everything we win on Sunday if we have a good Sunday on one game on Monday night.
So you need the Steelers.
Going to need the Steelers, because there's going to be a lot of 2-teamers, 3-teamers, 4-teamers, and it's very hard to fade 10-1. 20-1 with straight bet money. So at that point, you're along for the ride, and you just try and minimize your losses, and hopefully you get in a position at halftime that I can protect the house a little bit and see what happens.
So interesting. Get that kind of insight each and every week on this show. Once again, Behind the Book, right here live from the Mirage Sportsbook. Also, of course, on the Mirage Facebook page. And Jay has so kindly agreed each and every week moving forward, not only to tell some stories from your past, maybe some bookie stories. There's some rumors that Jay was maybe a bookie in college, stuff like that. But Jay has also agreed to answer your questions on the Mirage Facebook page. It's social media, Jay. What could possibly go wrong?
Exactly.
People are delightful on social media.
Social media has, I think, promoted more careers than I can even count. And I don't think it's destroyed one single career. So
no,
yes,
not at all.
I'm looking forward to it.
So Jay will answer within reason all of your questions. Really some insights that you won't find anywhere else. I want to thank you for giving us the time today.
Thank you. Yes.
And moving forward. Also the Mirage Sportsbook for being such a kind host to us. Once again, each and every week, 3 pro, 3 college football games right here on the Behind the Book show. And of course, check us out each and every week on the Mirage Facebook site. Thanks so much for tuning in, and good luck with all your college and football bets for week 1 in the NFL.